If you're in midlife, probably the biggest dilemma that you're facing right now is that burning question, should you retire early? And that's what I want to talk about today because I'm at that stage in life myself and I am on the fence. Should I stay? Should I go? If you're new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Lori and this is Ever After 50. Thank you for being here. Here I chat about all things midlife. I'm a full-time working mom. I have 2 adult kids still living in the home. I run a small business and I have this new YouTube gig and I have 2 cats. And if any of this resonates with you, I hope that you'll subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell as well so you don't miss any of my new videos. Thank you for being here. Now let's get to the video. You've got me here still in February recording this video with my Valentine's decorations, but I wanted to talk about this topic because once we hit 50, this burning question is something that is constantly on our mind. Should we retire? Should we continue working? How long should we continue working? And I think more and more as we age, this question comes up because we have worked, many of us, for decades. I don't know about you, but I started working when I was 13. And I was babysitting. And then from that, as soon as I was able to get a regular job, I had a job. And I've never been without a job. And I am at the point where I'm exhausted. I am burnt out. I love my job that I'm doing now. This is probably the best job of my career. However, I'm still burnt out. I'm tired. I want a break. I think many of us just want to have our freedom. And, we're maybe shifting our identities. We're no longer that young working person. We're now middle-aged, of course, but also work is not the priority anymore. I'm no longer trying to work my way up the pay scale or the ladder. And I think a lot of us are like this, where we've just we've leveled out and we just want to kind of coax through, the rest of our career and take a bit of a break. I think too that a lot of us were having, more health awareness that, life doesn't go on forever. And some of us at this point start to have, declining health. And for me, and probably a lot of you, I want my retirement years to be the best years. I want to be mobile. I want to be able to do all the fun things that I want to do. And time is very limited. So I think the biggest thing is just that shift in our mindset of what's really important. And what's really important is having our time back and having freedom. I've got some stats here for you and I do have them written down, so I am going to read them. Now, I'm here in Ontario, Canada, so these are Canadian stats. But so as of 2024, in Canada, the average age of retirement is 65. Now, I don't want to be part of those stats. It says here also that 21.8% of retirees are between the ages of 55 and 59. 44.9 are between the ages of 60 to 64. And the highest number, which is 80.5%, is between the age of 65 to 69. So again, I do not want to be part of that stat. But I'm on the fence about what I should do. And now, as far as the rest of the stats, it does say that in 2022, 1 in 5 seniors between the age of 65 to 74 are still working, with half of them doing it out of necessity. So that speaks a lot about the economy and, I guess, how much people have invested into pensions and investments and all of those type of things. So here in Canada, we do have our government pension system. So it's called Canada Pension and Old Age Security. That is not enough for anyone to live off of. So I feel like that's why a lot of people are still working if they haven't had the opportunity to invest in outside pensions or investments, or they didn't have a work pension. There's so many thoughts and so many decisions to make. And I think the biggest thing that it boils down to is financially, will we be okay? Can we financially retire early? And that's the biggest question. You've got a full view here of our tree. Now, I left the tree up after Christmas and I'm going to decorate it seasonally. So right now it still has all of the Valentine's decorations. I do plan to take the decorations off on the weekend and I'm going to substitute in Easter. So you will see that in a following video. But we also have little Gideon here asleep on the chair. And then I have my other cat, Dante, who's somewhere roaming about the house. But I wanted to share with you because a lot of people ask me about my makeup. I've been wearing makeup since I was in high school. I love makeup. For me, it's kind of like art. I love to try out new colors, new eyeshadows, all that fun stuff. Lipstick is my absolute favorite. So I did find this here, this Maybelline Super Stay Matte Ink. Okay, this stuff is absolutely amazing if you want long-lasting lipstick. So it comes like this. This is the applicator. I put it on in the morning, and I kid you not, this stuff stays on the entire day. It's amazing. And the only way to get this off is I use makeup remover. And then even after that, sometimes I'll use a fleece, kind of like a fleece material face cloth with water, because even the makeup remover does not take it all off. So if you want long lasting, this stuff is amazing. And I do have it in my Amazon storefront. There are so many reasons why people want to retire early, but I think the biggest reason is that people want their life back. They want their time, they want their freedom. And most Gen Xers have probably been working in some capacity since they were young adults, pre-teens, teenagers, without any break. You know, we followed the rules. We did what we were told to do, what's been expected. We ran on that hamster wheel all these years. And there comes a point where you just want to get off. And that's where I am. And I think too, we start to really focus more on our health and our energy. And we've been fed this lie that, wait to do everything until retirement. Retirement's going to be the best years of your life. But what if they're not? So the lie is that you have to just work, and be the robot that the world expects you to be. But what if tomorrow doesn't come? And I think that's why a lot of people are choosing to travel while they're working and do all of the fun things while they're working, because again, tomorrow's never promised. But what if your health, your health is not promised either. So people are starting to wake up. Once you hit 50, you're on a countdown. You're on a countdown for work, life, everything. And all of these shifts help you to prioritize what happens next. And I think also so many people are under extreme amount of stress, stress at work, stress at home, stress everywhere, right? And we just want a slower, more intentional life. And for me, I have worked for probably 20 years in high-level stress jobs. And mentally, I just want a break. I just don't want to have to worry about things. I don't want to be under this stress day and night. And I want my life back. We spend so many years running in that hamster wheel, following the rules of what society has put out for us, what the expectations are, and waiting for the end, waiting for retirement, waiting for that magic rainbow at the end. But, I've lived my life the last 20 years, living it in the now. And I did do a video about that, about why you should start living your life and not worrying about waiting for retirement, because tomorrow is never promised. And we also had that mindset, I guess, with our kids too. We've taken them everywhere with us. We wanted them to see things, we wanted them to travel as well. And I know that not everyone can afford that, but whatever small thing it is, whatever, happiness means to you, that's what you should get out there and do. If it's just going for a walk, if it's going to the movies, or if it's just taking a day trip, take those trips and do those fun little things that fills your life with joy, fun, and happiness. And don't wait for that rainbow that's at the end that who knows will ever come. For many people, there are a lot of reasons that they do need to stay working or choose to stay working. And I think the biggest thing is the financial stability. Not everyone has a work pension. I understand that. And then the government pensions are not enough to survive. But also, I think a lot of people, work has become their identity and their purpose. And another video that I'll share here about how work is not your identity. But I think that when we've worked in a career for so long or in a specific field, that does become our identity. But it's really important to not attach your work identity to your value. And I think our value is determined by, what we put out into the world, what kind of person we are, how we treat people, and the things that we fill our life with to bring us joy. And it's not your career. And I think too, a lot of people, they want to stay working because they need that social connection. But you can get that social connection in other ways. It doesn't have to be through work. And there's lots of community groups, there's seniors groups, take a class, and just go to the library, go to the bookstore, put yourself out there and make a point of making connections with people. So I know that that's something that a lot of people, they don't want to give up that social connection. And I think too, there's that fear of what's next. Will I have something to do? Will I have any friends? Will I have any money? It's the uncertainty that comes along with retirement. So those are all really valid reasons for people to want to stay. Another reason for us is we had our kids late. I was 34 and 36 when I had my two little darlings that I'll show you here, Arabella and Maximus. And now that I'm at this age, I'm thinking, gosh, we should have had them in our 20s because they're just starting university. So, one's third year university. The other one will be starting, he'll be starting in September. So, we made a commitment to help them get through their university. They're both living at home, so we have agreed to pay for their tuition. So that's another reason why I'm continuing to work, and same with my husband, is we want to finish that off. And then, the other worry is, what if they don't ever leave? Because the economy is in the tank, and it's so expensive for kids to, take off and manage on their own. Housing is ridiculously expensive, and the job market's not the greatest. So that's another thought that I have, is that, that doesn't really determine whether or not I continue to work. But if they're still living here, obviously, that affects our decisions with retirement as far as selling our home and, stuff like that. So we let them stay as long as they want. We're of the mindset that whatever they need, they're here. I did a video about that as well, about why you should let your kids stay living at home as long as possible and the benefits for both the kids and the adults. So I hope you'll watch that also. The other thing to consider is the middle ground a better option? And what I mean by that is, what about semi-retirement? What about just working part-time and then maybe having consulting or running a small business? And the other thing too is that maybe continue working, but choose a different career that's not as stressful, that doesn't have as many demands, that there are less responsibilities. And for most people though, your highest earning years are at the end. However, that's where you come to a point where you have to look at what's a priority for you and your family. If you've made it this far, thank you so much. I truly appreciate you. If you haven't already subscribed, I hope that you will. And I hope that you'll also hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any of my videos. And if you are a midlifer and you're at this stage of life contemplating whether or not you should retire early, let me know that you're here in the comments. I'm curious to know what age you plan to retire. I'm also curious to know where you're from and if you plan to work part-time when you retire. That's another question. Do I continue working in some capacity once I've retired? Maybe that's a video for another time. So thank you again. I do appreciate all of you. And until next time, bye for now.